All right, we are live today, Thursday, which is the last U vs. U show of this week, and I'm really excited about the guests that we have on today. If you're just joining us, this is the U vs. U show that's broadcasted live on YouTube, on Facebook, and later on Instagram. And we just really are excited to bring the message today of hope and really how to overcome fear, how to really heal from fear, not just from COVID, but even from your past. And we have an amazing person on our interview today. And to give you a little bit of background of who you're about to hear, her name is Jacquelyn. She has been really an energy healer, a practitioner for 5 years now. So if you kind of do the math, she's in her early 20s. So she's been doing it. When I was 18, I was just thinking about how do I talk to a girl? So she's incredibly professional. She is so conscientious of just the how important connection is, connecting with people, connecting to their heart walls, or not connecting to their hearts, so that she can help remove heart walls and really guides people really these past 5 years of helping heal emotionally. Now, how many of you out there watching this definitely can comment or just really agree that you and I, all of us, have some emotional baggage that we're carrying. And what I've learned about the emotion code and really the body code is that these emotions can become physical and they can really carry in our organs, and that can give us even cancer. And it's not just eating maybe bad foods or health-wise, but it actually is a lot to deal with our emotions. And really from the inside out. So I'm excited to really ask her some awesome questions. But Jacquelyn, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. Coming from Washington, the state of Washington today. So if you could just start off just giving us a little bit of context of who you are, your background, and what you do. And then we got some great questions about fear today. So thank you so much for being on.
My name is Jacquelyn Weis. I come from the Northwestern band of Shoshone Nation from Washakie, Utah. I'm a body and emotion code practitioner, herbologist, and T3 practitioner. My background is in domestic and sexual abuse awareness. I have been sexually abused myself and learned how to, instead of just use that trauma against myself, to rise up and heal from that and heal my communities, heal my clients. So I'm excited to be here and get started and help share this light with everyone.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for being actually already vulnerable and sharing that experience. Now, that's obviously a big trauma that I think 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4 women experience, and I think it's 1 out of 5 men actually experience that in their lifetime, the sexual abuse. And so let's not just sexual abuse, but major traumas. Let's start there. So how were you able to, for you personally, obviously was that, and of course, people, it might be that or something that is of that level, so traumatizing, and maybe they live with that for a while. How were you able to go from that horrible thing that you've experienced in life to really heal from that yourself? Was it a decision? Was it like, okay, this happened, but what can I it's hard to kind of, because it shouldn't have happened to you, but what were the actions that you took proactively to heal from that?
Well, I had fell into a deep depression. Wasn't able to get out of bed some days. Like my highest accomplishment was brushing my teeth. So from going through that experience for over a year, dealing with depression, PTSD, just losing myself, there was a point where I was like, I don't want to be like this anymore. I'm tired of this. I know there's more that I have to offer in the world, but this is literally blocking me, dragging me down. And so that first thought is what shifted me. I started going through this journey of how do I actually heal from this? I reached out to my mom, said, hey, can you help me? So she got me involved with a therapist. She got me involved with my Native community and going to ceremonies. We do what's called Sundance, which is where you're fasting for 4 days without eating or drinking water. It's amazing. Takes you to that different healing level. But that still wasn't doing enough for me. And what really happened was where I found that shift was my mom's friend was doing the emotion code certification. She had no idea what I was going through. She was like, hey, do you want a session? I need people to practice on. I'm like, I'm in for anything, whatever's going to help me.
Right.
And she released some chords with those people. She released my heart wall in that session. And I kid you not, I shifted. The next day, I felt freedom. I didn't wake up with PTSD. I jumped out of bed. I didn't like slowly roll out of bed. I jumped out and I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do. I want to help people feel this way. So
it seems unbelievable. So a lot of people might not know what the emotion code is. And here you are, you really do all those things that you're talking about. I mean, you're fasting and you're meditating and, you're doing a lot of different things in your culture and really, taking the necessary proactive steps, that you think could really help. And it didn't do the job that maybe you thought it would emotionally. And you still had that trauma kind of sitting there. And then all of a sudden, I mean, are you saying like your family member just did a session on you and all of a sudden you're just
she did one session.
Just one session?
One session, just one.
How long does that, like, can you tell me about that session and what those sessions now obviously like consist of? And are they 20 minutes, 30 minutes? Like what is this all about?
So she did 1 hour session for me.
Okay.
Just one. She starts with, asking, is there something that we can work on right now? Right. She had no idea what I was going through. I wasn't being vulnerable at that moment. Okay. And I was like, my body was responding, saying, yes, please like take this friend from her. And so she's like, okay, let's see if you have a heart wall we need to clear. And so she's muscle testing, releasing depression energy, releasing anxiety energy, releasing overwhelmed energy, crying, grief. And even in my culture, we all have experienced it. It's not just 1 in 4 women. It's 3 in 4 women in the Native American culture who have been sexually abused. And it's not just from the men in our tribe, it's from people outside of it, the community. So she was releasing inherited energies of that. So that was freeing in itself, was being able to help heal my community, my family, not passing it down to my daughter, really stepping up for that. We call it the 7th generation, which is today. So while she's going through releasing these trapped emotions from me, I could feel something bigger coming. Yep. And she also had the body code, which goes into releasing negative hoarding, releasing memories, releasing despair anchors, which is your negative thoughts. So she's really going in deep. And then she gets to cording and she looks at me. She's like, you have a womb cord. And you have a uterus cord, and you have a root chakra cord. And I'm sitting there like, yes.
Yep.
I don't want to tell you why, but yep, let's just release it. And what's amazing about the body and emotion code, you don't even have to say anything. You recognize it yourself and you can release that. So she released those cords from me.
Okay. So I mean, like if I'm watching this a couple years ago, I might be thinking, okay, this is a lot of woo stuff, right? A lot of woo. Just like a lot of people maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago thought meditation was woo, but now we know scientifically meditation is the portal to your actual subconscious mind. So, we have all these thoughts today, you're going to start controlling those thoughts. And what you're actually saying is, I wouldn't be interviewing someone if it was woo. This stuff is absolutely unbelievable. And to have you on and to share this is life-changing for anyone that takes this seriously, this interview. It's because we know, I mean, Michael Phelps just had an interview, this swimmer, the highest gold medal winner of all time in the Olympics, that he's like even now depressed. And I'm just thinking to myself when I'm reading this article, it's like he needs you. Basically, if Michael Phelps talk with you, in 1 hour, you could do more probably in 1 hour than anyone's ever done for him in the past probably 30 plus years that he's been alive. So we're not talking about therapy. We're not talking about psychology. We're not talking about Sigmund Freud here. We're talking about getting rid of removing heart walls, so that there is so much going on there with people that have trapped emotions. So when you say inherited, when you say released, can we talk a little bit about generations? I mean, even the Bible, it says, kind of gives the lineage of Jesus. generations, how important, even in your tribe, your culture, it's so important for your generations past, and of course who you are now and what you're doing with your children and then their children and their children. So what does inherited energy mean? How do we get inherited energy from our ancestors?
So let me ask you, when you go to the doctor's office, right,
Mm-hmm.
they have you write down all of those inherited disease,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's literally, sorry, my headphones falling out. That's literally what it is. It's
Yeah.
just the energy of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the body code, we call it myisms, which means inherited diseases, which also we can release. But that's literally the DNA part, the energetic DNA that is holding us back. And what's amazing is sometimes you can, you go, all right, can we release this from everyone? And they are in the room and present, ready to release. And you could even muscle test. Are they in the room right now? And it's always a yes. And then they're gone after you release it.
Wow.
So inherited traumas, emotions.
Mm-hmm.
It's like writing down, all right, here's diseases. My grandma had heart disease. My great-great-grandfather had diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
People say diabetes run in my family, my bloodline. That's exactly what it is. Or if you're thinking about people from the Holocaust, they have all that inherited energy. You could be reading something and all of a sudden you have that impression of, oh my gosh, I can't breathe. Well, that's your DNA saying, hey, we've experienced something like that.
And that, I think that causes a lot of confusion for people obviously right now living, because they're like, where does this come from? Why am I anxious? Why am I want to be happy. I don't want to be depressed. Why am I feeling this way? And some people can't even really pinpoint why they're feeling this way, because they don't really have any problems going on. Maybe they don't have massive challenges happening. Maybe they weren't sexually abused or anything like that. They're just like, but I'm still depressed. How is this even happening? I just want to be happy. So this could be a lot of kind of that. I wouldn't call it a curse, but it is a curse. I think a lot of us are cursed in some of our things that we need to remove. And so talk to me about releasing it. So what is releasing a curse or releasing an entity, or what does that mean in your world when you're actually working on somebody over the phone, and you notice this obviously through doing a session with somebody?
So the first thing if we were having a session and you were to release something, then number one thing I ask my clients to do is just close your eyes, take a deep breath, and envision light flowing from the top of your head to your feet, right? If you were to think about it, and when you're meditating, that connects you right to source, that aligns your body, your mind, your spirit all in one. And that's what we're doing, is releasing that through the body. In Chinese culture, they release it and it's called the governing meridian. It runs from the top of your head to your mid back. In Hindu culture, it's the same thing. This is the source. In Native American culture, we smudge ourselves and release like this. It's amazing how many cultures have the same similar pinpoint of releasing. It's this crown chakra, connection to the divine, where, you're saying, take care of it. I acknowledged it. Now let it go from my body. So we're literally just pulling it out.
Yeah, it's so true. Because I've been mentored by Abraham Hicks, and probably a lot of people know who Abraham Hicks is, and I recommend her. But she's always said you have to be in alignment. And a lot of people don't realize their heart, it can actually think. Literally, scientifically, your heart thinks, and that's why we say things like, I fell in love with that person with my heart. I love you with all my heart. Not, I don't say that, or you don't say that to our spouses. I love you with all my mind. No, it's I love you with all my heart. So a lot of times we're off, and we feel, and this may be where depression and anxiety can come from, because we're created to do amazing things in our life. Like, we all can be legendary. I mean, we always kind of look up to celebrities or historic people, but at the same time, I think a lot of people don't realize that they're just regular people. They just started to get in alignment with their mission. They got alignment with their vision. And that means their mind and their heart was connected. So tell me about is there a way that we can do that? I know obviously we're just on an interview just for a few minutes here, but obviously working with you over and over, we can do that. But what does that really mean, or even how is that even possible when our mind in purity and with all ethics and, because I think we're all like children. I mean, yeah, there's some bad people in the world, but even if you watch their story, you'd be like, well, they were sexually abused or raped at such a young age. And that's might be why they're bad nowadays, because they didn't have access to someone like you or something like that. So I think we always judge people, but we don't realize where they came from, right? Does that make sense? So how can someone get from head to their heart and be in alignment with that? What does that look like?
Good question. So what I would say is, first thing is definitely find an emotion code practitioner, release your heart wall, because then you're allowing yourself to even receive love. Yeah. And I'm not talking about from other people. We're focusing on loving your own, like yourself, right? Yeah. So by loving yourself, you could say affirmations every day of, I am amazing, I am beautiful, I'm powerful, or I'm receiving, right? That's the biggest one, is receiving. And then by consciously thinking that, you've already like connected heart and mind, right? You're sending love thought to your heart, which sends love to your body, which sends love to the world, to people around you. So they're receiving that. For the past 2 weeks, actually, I've been the most aligned that I have been in my entire life. There was a part, I was meditating every day, twice a day. So morning, midday, and I was listening to different types, right? We have this mindset of what meditation is. And to me, I've been redefining like what that means. That means if you are an indigenous person or come from any culture, we all have some type of meditation form. So that means putting my feet in the grass and sitting there in silence, listening to the object furthest away from me, smelling the closest thing to me, feeling the grass under my feet, that's the closest we can get, because we're, grounding ourselves, we're connecting. In other cultures, it could be their music. Like mine is listening to my favorite drum group, Northern Cree. Their music empowers me. It makes me feel, and release. Awesome. So definitely meditating is one of them, and releasing trapped emotions. Sometimes we get in this idea of we have to suppress our emotions. We can't feel them because they're too intense. Yeah. Well, I've realized, with my experience, you can release them in the moment. I journal at the end of the day, intense emotions that I felt today, negative statements that I even said to myself, and memories that I might trap later. So I'm literally releasing those in them now, so I don't hold on to them. So like I could say, I'm holding on to anxiety. I felt, you don't like the word overwhelmed. Right. We felt that intensity of emotion, and you're just like recognizing it and releasing it. So that's another thing I've been doing. Another thing is keeping your body moving, healthy, working out, going for a walk. Biking is my biggest thing that I'm doing right now. I love it. And there was a moment where I was sitting meditating, and it was the craziest feeling I felt in my whole life. I literally felt everything just open up. It went boom, 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 in my whole body. And then I felt energy just fly out of my head. And it was the craziest thing. So definitely recommend doing like meditation, working out, journaling, reading books, because that's going to help you elevate yourself to even allow yourself to open up and release those things that you're holding on to.
Yeah, and and that's amazing, and the content of this is super amazing. Like what you're saying, I mean, I already took a page of notes already. I mean, just on what you're saying, right? Let me put it this analogy. So, like, if someone's like, "Well, I don't meditate, and why should I meditate?" So, for me, it's like having in your house this lamp, and that it's like Aladdin's lamp, right? But you're so skeptical to sit down and actually rub it and kind of wait for your 3 wishes to be granted. So you're kind of like, yeah, whatever, that's like a family heirloom, but I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it. Well, that's really what meditation is, because, even from my own experience, even a year ago to less than even a year ago, I really understood that concept where we really hold the lamp, and that ask and you shall receive is a real thing. And it doesn't happen like right away. I mean, I think there's you have to go from believing to knowing. You really do, and I think you have to have that discipline to do it and work on yourself. Obviously, just like anything else, you can't just go to the gym and just have a six pack. If you don't have a six pack in one day, but over time you really will, and you also establish these habits. So even for me, like late last year, after meditating for many months and just really doing it consistently, I kind of rubbed the Aladdin lamp as far as thoughts. And I created a thought, and then another thought, and then another thought, and another thought, which landed me on this interview with you today, and actually knowing you and being able to help guide you as your transformational leadership coach and being a part of the Inside Out Institute. And that's not like, a knock on me, like I'm great or anything, but I can literally share my own testimony that if we start really slowing down our life and thinking for a change, and not just go on the phone and, busy and worry, because that's where fear comes. We'll have more fear the more busy that we are when we don't contemplate and think and just ponder our life and where we're here. So I think with COVID, what is a thought for you that people are kind of in this meditative state now? I think people really understand the importance of self-awareness. So where are we at now in your opinion, and where do you think people are going, and how can people win the battle of you versus your fear based on, really what I'm talking about and how to be consistent with that?
So with COVID, what I've experienced personally is everything slowed down, right? Whatever you believe in, if it's creator, God, whatever energy, he literally just gave us the opportunity to just be quiet. And that was it was like weekend of, it was March 16th here in Washington where everything just shut down.
Yep.
And everything was just silent. And that was probably the most joy I've had in a long time was, oh my gosh, I can think, I can feel. Because of being an empath, you absorb everything from your family, the world. Just having a moment where I could think for myself was pure bliss. And what I'm noticing is a lot of more people are doing this. They're sitting back. We're kind of adjusting. Everything's slowing down, which is exactly what we need right now. And what I would say is to bring yourself forward, like to your potential self right now, and make that your goal, not to get back to work, not to, go to the playground because your kids need to get out of the house. It's reflecting on who you are because you have time to think about it. You can release your belief systems. You can really work on yourself to rise up and become that potential self. And I think taking that opportunity right now is probably going to be the best gift. And I wouldn't want to take that for granted.
Absolutely. Well, appreciate that. It's awesome. And tell me about you being in alignment, because you said something, you've never been in more alignment these past 2 weeks. So I just have this kind of my last question, and then we'll kind of, where to follow you on Instagram and everything like that. But how has it been these past 2 weeks? I know you've entered our Inside Out Institute, and we've gotten to know you already, and we just love you, and everyone's just so welcoming to you because you're just a powerhouse, and you're one that takes, for what I notice about you, is massive initiative. And a leader is someone that takes initiative, and they're not waiting to be basically kind of ordained, or okay, it's your turn now, or hey, don't talk right now, or do what you're told to do. A leader is someone that just doesn't care. They just take initiative, and you have added a lot of value. So how is that really? Is that like your personality? Like you just take initiative? And how did you get in alignment these past 2 weeks, and what does that look like?
So how I became like that is definitely inherited. I'm going to take that and say this is definitely who I was born to be. In my culture, we are definitely like, we got to make this happen for ourselves. I was raised in a community where no one's going to fight for you but yourself, and you got to do it together and raise each other up. So changing and aligning this past 2 weeks, I've been really working on myself. I'm not just sitting here not doing anything for myself or my family. I wanted to really reflect and say, okay, what are my beliefs? What
Mhm.
are things holding me back as a person? I did some energy work on myself the other day, and I had a broadcast message that I was afraid of connection. I'm like,
Mm.
but I'm great with connecting with people. So that was so funny. But it
Mhm.
went back like 7 generations of people. And after shifting that thought, all of a sudden, like you came into my life. I was, had endless opportunities that are
Mhm.
presenting themselves just because when I released that fear, and I also sat and prayed and said, I need to know, what am I supposed to be doing right now? I feel useless. And then
Mm.
all of a sudden, not even 2 days later, Monique contacted me saying, hey, you should get involved
Wow.
with this. I think you'd be great. I'm like, just
Wow.
when you're aligned in your thoughts, and there was a quote that said, knock and you shall receive.
Mhm.
Well, if you actually say, hey, I'm going to be raising my hand in the front row saying, pick me, I'm ready,
Yeah.
you get those opportunities. And so
Yeah, that's
being able to
awesome.
align with those is just, it's been massive changes in my life.
Yeah.
Entirely grateful.
Yeah, and you have self-awareness, because I've also noticed, and this is not even just really a question, it's just a comment on that. You have self-awareness, and you notice the opportunity and you said yes. But I have also seen a lot of people that need you for the emotion code, because you can literally present an opportunity where it's like, hey, I'll give you $1 million. You don't have to really do anything. Just be cool. And they're like, yeah, but what's the catch?
Mm-hmm.
And they just will not say yes to no matter what opportunity. Either they're waiting for a better one, which never will come their way, or they just are so skeptical. So is that like an emotion code thing, where they're obviously broadcasting I'm not worthy? Or because that's probably 80% of the country that we live in
Yeah.
is so skeptical. They don't believe anybody, and literally if they pray all day about it, it's kind of like the Bible story where they're praying and they come to the door and the prayer was answered, but no one believed it, right? So it's like,
Right.
how can somebody actually believe, in knocking and the door shall be open? I mean, is that like a kind of broadcast message that they're sending out, that I'm not worthy of it, to say yes?
So I think there's a lot. Like, it could be your heart wall saying you don't deserve it. It can be core belief system saying, I don't deserve, happiness. I don't
Mm-hmm.
deserve joy. I don't deserve to be loved. I don't deserve, the list goes on and on. It could be a
Mm-hmm.
core belief system. It can be a broadcast message and a broadcast message means I have this thought, therefore you are picking up on it. We say baggage attracts baggage. That's basically
Mm-hmm.
a broadcast message, is we're attracting that energy. So you could be,
Yeah.
in love with your wife, and she's just like still and not receiving it. But that could be her broadcast messages. I'm not going to receive that from you.
Yeah.
So that
100%.
goes into that belief system. By releasing beliefs, what I would say is start with saying those I am statements of I deserve this, I am
Okay.
worthy, and really taking that into thought of, you could even ask, what is blocking me from loving my spouse? And whatever's the first thing that comes to your mind, I would write it down. Go into, okay, thoughts. All right. I don't think I deserve it.
Yeah.
I'm not worthy of it. I had this experience, therefore I can't have it. So you write those memories. And those are cognitively thinking and being like,
Mm-hmm.
aware, this is what I'm holding on to, and you're already releasing it. So these are just tools that you can do, and to really think about it, get rid of those belief systems and start really thinking like, hey, I'm worthy of it. I deserve this.
Wow. Wow. I mean, this is massive. I mean, what we're talking about is this kind of content for somebody is like the most important thing people need to hear right now. And I know we're running out of time here. Number one, where can people follow you? Obviously on Facebook right here, Jacquelyn, your name, Weis. Where can they follow you on Instagram?
So I'm under Jacquelyn.smiles and Zimi Wellness Center. And I also have a Facebook group called Healing the Survivors. It's a women's group that I created to
Mm-hmm.
empower women and release those blocks and belief systems so we can all become our full potential selves.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, guys, what she was saying, even in relationships, I mean, like so many people that privately tell me, obviously as a coach, they're telling me about their marriages and stuff. And I'm not a marriage counselor at all. I don't have the authority even to do that. I've been married 3 years to my wife now, but it's amazing how that holds up their whole life. Like, if they're not receiving love, or if they're in kind of a rut with their marriage, like they're not successful in the other areas, or if they are, they're very unfulfilled. So removing your heart walls first and foremost. And that's why anyone that's watching this needs to reach out to Jacquelyn, get more information about what is the emotion code and what she can do for you. That one session, like she had one session, years ago, totally could change your life. I mean, I'm not saying, obviously individual results may vary. I have to say that, but even like people that are medicated and antidepressants, I mean, this could really add value. It could totally change their life. And it's, I mean, I've gotten off some of that medication the past couple of years because of this stuff. So it's just been an incredible journey. I'm so excited about what we're doing as an institute and how we're really aligning the leadership coach and the practitioner together worldwide, globally, and you being one of our incredible practitioners. So honored to be working with you for sure. So thank you again for being on today. Any last thing you want to just share before we end the broadcast?
When you are in this moment right now, watching this video and thinking, what can I do to better myself? Here's an opportunity right here. We have Todd, we have me, we have endless amounts of opportunities that will help you raise up. You just have to be vulnerable and willing to ask and receive. So if you are even thinking about that, or what can I be doing right now in this time, this is a time to self-heal.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for letting me be on this show.
My pleasure. Yeah, you're awesome. Thank you so much for being on. Ask. Everyone needs to ask, and that's the first step of changing your life, is just ask and humble yourself. And everyone, no matter who you are, has to ask for help. So thank you so much, Jacquelyn, for being on. Appreciate you. And thanks so much for everyone that's watching. We'll see you next time next week, Tuesday on the You vs. You show.